I hope you're having a fantastic Thanksgiving with family and friends. I wanted to go over a few tickers, including Nvda. It has gone down since I last looked at it. We ended the day at 135.34, down 1.15%. This is where we are at resistance. Another level of resistance would take us to roughly 136.38. And there's the gap that would fill out if we make it to 4 standard deviations, and that would be roughly 137.72. To the south side, VWAP is at 133.46. Below that, the middle of the trend and the baseline takes us to roughly 132.41. Negative 2 standard deviations, roughly 129.75. 128.47 and 127.17. Looking left, you can see that every time we hit resistance at either 2, 3, or 4 standard deviations, price has gone down because that is resistance and a potential take profit area. And then we slide down to go back up again, and this is the clear support sign. Anything below that are outliers and an indication to possibly buy in and buy on the dip. I'm going to flip this over to the daily time frame so you can see that gap down here. As you can see, I have tracked this many times in the past. Where are we? We're at 135.34. I know it's hard to see, but right here along that green line, right here. So to the middle of the trend would take us back to 148.62, and then below that would be 129.55, which is the beginning of that gap to the downside, and that closes out at 128.45. And we are still going up on the daily. And then we have this baby gap and this one. And the 1-year price target is 170.16. If you can stomach this whipping us all over the place and staying steady and not panicking, this is the target. And then after that, 220, according to the analyst. But the minimum to the downside, 101.91. So watch out for that. 101.91, well, that would take us down. Wait, let me double check. 101, yeah, 101.91. So that would take us, oh, wow, I have a gap. Oh, I have more gaps. All right. So 101.91 would take us right back here to this gap level, which was back on May 23rd when it opened up. And then that took us down to 95.08. We're not in the channel, not in the zone for these gaps, just something to be aware of. And I'll just delete that one. Originally I said that was 67.61, and then when I marked it out, I'll just take this down. Copy the number. This is give or take. And let's take a look at the RSI going down on the daily, unfortunately. The weekly going down as well, and the monthly overextended, which means we're going to sell off here, and we're slowly doing that as we get into the negative territory. But anytime when you look left, anytime we crack 70 or higher, which is resistance, you can bet there's going to be a pullback, and every time there was. This is the highest the RSI has gotten on the daily. I'll just pick a color, any color. And could we go up here? Yeah. Could we extend over that? Yep. And then crack back down. And obviously, if you're in at a higher price, you don't want to see that. But if you're not in and you want to get into the game, that gives you an opportunity to get in or buy the dip and dollar cost average down. That looks like a hot mess, so ignore that. Let's take it back to the 5. So that's that gap right here, taking us down to 128.52-ish. Now the next thing I want to go over is Mrna at the top of the leaderboard for Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, which I own many shares, too many shares to count. And that is at 45.47, 46.75, 47.99. And I do unfortunately have some here. I accidentally bought it. I was waiting for this gap. Where's the gap? Oh, I was waiting for this gap to fill, and it did. And I don't know what happened. I hit the buy button, silly me, and then obviously it went down even more. And I bought some here, and I missed it here for the gap to the downside, and that has filled. So let me extend that out. But yeah, that happens to me all the time. I have sticky fingers. I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. 36.90, and then we fell down some more, and then clear buy in. And then all of a sudden, analysts came out of the woodwork saying, oh, now is the time to buy. Well, yeah, I could have told you that because the charts told you that. Or you could try to wait some more, and then it may never happen, but that's a clear buy signal. Okay, clear sell signal, anything above this line if you're just playing these lines. Obviously, many levels of support and resistance in between. Let's mark this out. 41.39. I like my price labels to be in black. Okay, I've digressed. So that took us to 48.03 and 42.98, 40.50, 39.23, $38 to the south side. I was going to sell when I saw it hit up here, but I was so close. I wanted it to go up here and it never got there. And typically it doesn't. That's not my luck. And I could have sold out, but I thought, no, I didn't. And then I just want to start making leg ups. Legs up. Whatever. Just making our way, stair-stepping up, I should say. See forecast. Let's take a look. The potential is down to the downside at $31, 73.85, 212. So if it gets back down this level, I definitely will buy more. And that's Allegiant, I think. Yeah. Oh, Agilent. I've done tickers for all of these. I mentioned Dollar General potentially running, and it has, because the RSI on the monthly was pretty low and it got bought up. Oops, stay on page. Let's take a look at Autodesk while I'm here. Let's mark it out. I'm waiting for my phone to ring. So if it does, I've got to get off. All right, the middle of the trend takes us to roughly, excuse me, 296.36, 310.98, 318.26, 325.71, 281.48, 274.22, 266.85. And why do I have this thing marked out? I don't know. But we are in a downward channel on the 5. Note the sell-off here at resistance, falling back down to support. Let's take a look at this on the daily. It's been a while since I took a look at this. Old support and resistance up there. And I apparently have tracked this since it was $187. Yeah. And then we've got this gap to 201, but that filled because that went even south of that. Oh, what I used to do was just give you the price targets for the resistance level and support levels. All right, we went up, so I anticipate it to fall down. So that is no longer a threat to our account. We went down even more at 204.52. Now, I'm marking this on the daily, but I originally had marked it out on the 5. So you've got to keep it consistent or it will get wonky on you when you flip it over to the next price, the next time frame. What is happening here? Oops. Uh-oh. There we go. I don't know. So that gap touched at 203.80. And what happened here? So we gapped down and then we touched right there. So that took us to 217.34. And what happened here? I don't know why I marked that. I really should clean these things up before I let it go too far. And what happened here? Oh, those are just price targets I was giving. Well, actually, that took us down to 201. Yeah, that's done. And what happened here? That touched right there. That took us down to 210.26. All right. Now this is again on the daily. So, oh wait. We've got a gap all the way down here. Let me just extend it. That will take us to roughly 199 to the, oh, it touched. Oh, look at that. 199.20, let's just say. And we are at support on the daily, and look at that. A run up after support turns into resistance, falls back down, tries to get to that level, didn't quite make it, back up to resistance, and then another level of resistance. So support will take us down here to 278.78, and then should we be so lucky as to get up, that will take us to 336.91. The 1 year price target is 322.46-ish. So basically it's going to take us back to 2 standard deviations. And if it can get there, why can't it get to 337 and again to 356.99? 326.62 is the 52-week high. And after that, 375 down to 245. Well, where's that gap? That one closed. I'll have to look for more gaps on the 5-minute, but again, I haven't tracked this in a while, so I've sure missed out on many gaps that you can't see right now. All right, and the next one I want to take a look at is XRP USD. Let's do Coinbase, Ripple. Wait, that's not, yeah. Oops. Surge 220% here. Founded in 2012 as a digital payment. I just heard from Puppy Trades, I love him, watch his videos, and he was saying how Ripple is going to be the next Bitcoin. And you think, oh, $1.48? Oh, I don't know how that could happen, but that's big picture way down the road. So I have tracked this before, and we are at resistance on the daily. So watch out for that. As we start to roll over, we could roll over and then get up another leg. So that has the potential to do that. Let's go to the 5-minute. All right, $1. Okay, this is a constant moving target. So anytime I hit this, it's going to change. And we are at resistance, so I'm going to anticipate it to crack down. So the middle of the trend, I'm just going to mark that out for giggles. All right, one level of resistance, $1.4982, 15107. Middle of the trend, 14594. VWAP in the blue, 1.4654, 1.4347, 1.4221, and 1.4094. And very quickly, Mrna ran. as well, up 7.81%. There's a gap to the south side I'm tracking that will take us down to roughly 1990. And 2692. All right. 2815, 2901. Don't hold your breath for Friday. We could get there, but in one day, probably not. 2984. And if we do, you can bet there will be a sell-off if we make it to that level. I'll just mark this out. So price can go sideways or just slowly follow the line in whatever direction the line is, because that gets recalculated every 5 minutes if you're on the 5. 2487, 2403, 2322. Okay, previously I bought some down here a long time ago. I've traded this, but I need to dollar cost average down. So that will take us to 1625. This gap closed to the downside at 1923, ran up and then back down again. Oh, what do we have here? So this gap touched right about there to the upside, 2393. All right, this gap, I'll clean this up, is done as well. This one is done to the south side at roughly 1614. This one is done to the upside at roughly 1764. There's this one. I mean, this has been forever since I've tracked this. So I will flip this over to a different time frame and then clean everything up. 1547 there. And then we've got a gap to the south side at 1338. Yep, that one's still in play. A couple other ones. I previously bought this at 1232 as well. Here are all the support and resistance lines from a long time ago. Let's take this to the daily. Look, I bought this so long ago. Let me just get rid of this line. So to the north side, one level is going to take us to 3062, 3532, and 4018. To the south side, 2115. And then we've got these other gaps to deal with. All right. The next video I want to work on is to go over Cathie Wood's tickers. I created a list of all of her tickers a long time ago, and Trader Mrna asked me about it a long time ago, and I never made a video, and I just realized that. So I'm going to whip out my old list and then take a look at her stocks and see how they are performing as we get to the end of the year. But that does it for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving and that you stuffed yourselves and had a great time. I'm about to get on my treadmill before I go and eat as well. All right, have a great trading day.